What's up, y'all? You know what time it is? It's about to be that time.
Damn, son, where'd you find this? We've come a long way. But are you ready for the future?
Introducing Sega Saturn. Aww. Hit it! Sega's next generation gaming platform.
Sega Saturn.
Savage.
And we're back. One Piece 1073 is out. Before we get started, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, I'm wearing a jacket inside. Oh, and I'm moving. So, things are going to be different for a little bit. We did talk about this a little bit last week. So, you know, the big channel updates, yes, we're following the Viz. Our streams are going to be on Sundays, and things are going to be a little wonky as we, you know, transition into a new place. So stand by for all of that. But we're here for 1073. Okay, obviously we've been told about the hierarchy of the authority chips. The Gorosei are at the very top of that chip, or are they? That's one thing that we need to, you know, discern. That's something that we need to figure out. We need to know if Vegapunk put a failsafe into the Seraphim, or is this all high and mighty? We are given a name for this man, J. Garcia Saturn.
Saturn.
The implication here is that the other Gorosei members, the 5 elder planets, the 5 elder stars, are likely named after other planets as well. Theoretically, it would be Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn. Those would make up the 5 elder stars, and then, you know, somewhere lurking would be Earth. And this would make sense because the ancient weapons are named after planets as well. Uranus, Pluton, Pluto, Poseidon, Neptune. It's all linked together. And then, of course, you know, there's King Neptune. So it's there. It's there. Those other guys, they're going to be named after planets. But anyway, let's talk about exactly why J. Garcia Saturn would be on his way to Egghead, as well as the other things that have happened in this chapter and where we could possibly go from these developments. Here we go. Now, Saturn had said that he and Vegapunk had met before. Now, this probably was because Vegapunk came in and met with the Gorosei to talk about the Seraphim project, and this is likely where they gave their stipulation that they had to be at the very top of the authority chain. Now, an interesting thing that is told to us in this chapter, which at first didn't make sense until I got to the end of the chapter, was the interaction from Stussy, where she says that she cannot negate an order that has already been given by someone on the same authority plane as her. So Lucci says, attack the lab. She can't tell them, don't attack the lab. Now, this was something that we had talked about last week that I was expecting would probably happen, that they potentially would have this tug of war with the Seraphim. Stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. Didn't happen. Obviously, Stussy came in with that. Really wasn't expecting that. Anyway, this means that if one Gorosei member makes a call to the Seraphim, none of the other Gorosei members could negate that call. Meaning if there was a Gorosei member that was to get cold feet and eventually turn against Emu and the other Gorosei members, if they were to give an order to the Seraphim, attack the Gorosei and Emu, none of the other Gorosei members would be able to stop that. What we now have is an explanation that realistically leads to a Chekhov's gun, where that known fact now has to backfire on the government in some way. Realistically, the easiest way for it to backfire would be that there is a failsafe, but hey, you know, who knows? Given that all of the Gorosei members, for the most part, have some variation of a scar or an indication that they are battle ready, I'm expecting J. Garcia Saturn to be able to scrap. We talked about it in the stream that a fun parallel, since we're doing all of these Sabati, you know, changes here, would be that we get a reversal of Luffy punching Charlos, right? but instead of sending him flying and everything like that, Jay Garcia may be able to tank that. Oda may draw it the same way, but he may be a beast and just go after Luffy. This is a prime opportunity for Luffy to scrap with Saturn, Zoro can take on Kizaru, and we have a legions of ships on their way, full of vice admirals that we did get into a couple videos ago where I talked about my predictions of which vice admirals should be showing up. Let's see, which ones come true, right? Still, ultimately, I say this every week, we need Fujitora in this arc. I would hope that what we are setting up here is the eventual split of the good Marines, bad Marines, any good government members, and the bad government members. Talked about it also in the stream that the flags on these ships look like pirate flags. They're not the white flags. These are black government flags. And this is an intentional visual cue. This is an indication of the world government being the true pirates of this story. Running around, pillaging, taking tribute from people. This is pirate activity. What we need are good Marines like Fujitora and Smoker to finally take their stance against these tyrannical government officials. What would be fun is an altercation between Fujitora and Kizaru. Would really love that. And I would also love if Smoker made a last stand at some point. And one of the big reasons for this is if Smoker finds out that they are targeting Vegapunk, the man who just healed like 100 kids from Punk Hazard. I'm talking about Smoker here, the same dude that in his introduction page had a little girl run up to his leg, spill ice cream on it, and say, "I'm sorry, my pants ate your ice cream." And then he gave her money to go get more ice cream. Okay, Vegapunk helps children. Smoker has a soft spot for children. Once he knows they're trying to kill Vegapunk, I mentioned it in the stream that it would be an awesome thing if he made the last stand for everybody to get away, like created this gigantic smoke wall and blocked all of the vice admirals and other marines from getting to Vegapunk and the Sunny and all of the Straw Hats, right? But maybe in the process, he gets captured, sent to Impel Down for his betrayal. Then some of the staunch marines that are, that know how staunch Smoker is would kind of click and say, wait, why would this dude turn? Like this dude was hard body for like justice. Like what is going on? And then it'll start making people question things. And then when we get Impel Down 2.0, Smoker could be, front and center of that. That would be kind of that was a fun idea that we brought up. And one of the key things of why this makes sense also, we've been talking about Impel Down 2.0 for a really long time, but now it seems even more likely with everything that we learned about with Sphinx in this chapter. Easy W that, Bakin was Buckingham's Stussy, so we have that. Now she is with Marco, and she's basically forcing Marco to help Weevil, who is very likely on his way to Impel Down. Will Marco be instrumental in the Impel Down 2.0 breakout, where we would then free Doflamingo, a lot of the Doflamingo family members, Mr. 2, potentially Smoker if we, get to that idea that I was just talking about. Maybe Foxy's there. Like, there's a great opportunity to get a lot of characters out of that prison that we are going to need in this final battle royale. It's also a great way to keep Marco relevant. I'm kind of iffy on the timeline of when Ryukyu would have been able to even get to Sphinx. Like, this had to be something that happened before Green Bull got to Wano. And Ryukyu was already on Wano when Marco was leaving, yet he would have gotten there before Marco when he was on the Red Force. I mean, even if he's flying, that's still a big reach. So, we thought about it in the stream. I think that it's probably likely that this was something that happened on the way to Wano. Meaning it's quite likely that Weevil is already at Impel Down. Vegapunk is missing. Aside from, just name dropping a Gorosei and getting him out of the room, this is the biggest bombshell of the chapter, because it's the one that's going to drive the narrative, if this is true, that he actually is missing. When we last saw Vegapunk, he was a child, and Bonnie was about to touch the paw, which, we all assumed was going to send us down memory lane with a sorbet flashback. Oda is continuing to hold that close to the chest. What happened when Bonnie touched that paw? What I'm expecting is Luffy and Chopper are going to get to that paw room because they're looking for Bonnie and Vegapunk, and there's going to be no one and nothing in there. The paw will be gone. Where will Bonnie and Vegapunk be? Who knows? Is it sending them flying? Maybe? I don't necessarily like that idea, but it's possible. Is there a faction on Egghead that, we don't know about yet? A lot of people were theorizing that Shiryu could be the person who was able to infiltrate because he's invisible. Blackbeard already showed that he had a really big interest in the Mero Mero no Mi, which Vegapunk has successfully cloned. So if you can't get Hancock, you might as well get the closest thing. And that's the Devil Fruit. Blackbeard has an interest in Devil Fruits to begin with. Vegapunk can make them. So that's a big grab. If Blackbeard Pirate members actually did kidnap Vegapunk, then the Straw Hats and the satellites and everything are pulling up to Hachinosu, and this is where the story might be going before we get to Elbaf. Depending. That's just one path. Another path would be that Caribou sees the importance of Vegapunk and, stuffed him in his swamp. I don't think we really need an Oda box for that, though. That's why this seems like it needs to be a bigger thing. Either they've been sent flying into the air, or the Blackbeard Pirates have caught them. We're also introduced to a new Marine named Red.cal, who bears a very strong resemblance to Nezumi from the Arlong Park arc. He was the other mousy guy. Nezumi means mouse in Japanese, and this guy has rat in his name. Can you be any more of a bum?
Savage.
Speaking of bums, Buckingham Stussy is literally called, essentially, the bum of Mads. She's a freeloader. But anyway, back to Red.cal, right? This is another example. It seems like it may be, throwaway stuff and all of that, but Oda is really trying to hammer in this idea that the Marines are the bad guys for this saga. The world government is bad. This is all a higher message about, you have to be very careful about who you put in power. Some people don't have the best interests in mind, but that's also the gray area, right? Because then you have people like Smoker that actually have a good heart. Kobe has a good heart, but they're in this corrupt machine with other corrupt people. And it's like, how do you navigate all of that and get through to the other side? These guys are so gung-ho about getting that heavenly tribute and all of that stuff, because they're essentially criminals that get to do criminal activity under the banner of just carte blanche. It's all really interesting stuff. What do I expect in the next chapter? I expect to start with Luffy and Chopper looking for Vegapunk and Bonnie, because that's the real ending of the chapter, in my opinion, learning that Vegapunk is missing. The Sphinx Island stuff is like a fun side story, and then the Kizaru thing is like the after credits teaser. The real chapter ended when we found out that Vegapunk was done, so we need to start with that, catch up with Luffy and Chopper, finding that there is nothing in that room. Where's Bonnie? Where's Vegapunk? The satellites calling down, trying to find the Stella. They cannot find it. Now we understand that this is an issue. As everyone is starting to scramble and figure everything out with that, Stussy can let Zoro and Sanji know that there's like 50 warships on their way. So then they have to now make a plan for that. They have to get the satellites out of there, but they also have to find the main Stella. And while they're running around trying to figure this out, not realizing that the main Stella may not even be on Egghead right now, those warships are going to close in and get closer. And eventually, in a few chapters from now, we're going to start scrapping with the Marines, and it's going to be iconic. I'm also really loving this thing that Oda's doing where he doesn't even care about what arc we're in. He's going ahead and showing us all of these different islands already like it's the end of an arc. I'm here for all of it. Maybe we even go somewhere new in the next chapter. Are we going to get a Cross Guild update at some point? I don't know, but I'm here. I'm here for it. All in all, that's going to do it for 1073. Okay? Be back here for 1074 in 2 weeks. Again, the stream for that will be on the Sunday that the Viz comes out for that. We'll get our analysis out on Monday or Tuesday. Oh, and for the stream next week, probably be a nighttime weekday stream, because I'm going to be traveling during the weekend. I'm really glad that it's a break week. So just keep an eye out for community posts and landing pages for the streams. Okay? And soon enough we'll be getting back into Odyssey. We'll do some more Odyssey streams. I've just been so busy with the move that I haven't even continued playing the game. But we're gonna get back into that as well. Thank you so much, seriously, for the continued support. For Chrissy and I, especially through this this next move here. Once we find our footing and everything, I think everything's going to be even better than it was. So appreciate you guys. Happy to take the Savage crew with us on this this journey. And yeah, shout out to all the members. Shout out to the new and returning members. Michael Mouton rejoined. Mugen Cat joined. Decides 318 rejoined. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See you guys soon.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.